are. That's their nature. That's just vile hate speech. Not because the speech itself is hateful, but because of the emotion behind it. They hate blacks. That's why they're using that word. It's all context. All of it. One of the black guys at work I get along with really well.
I love him.
And I can make a good nigger joke. I could walk into the room and be like, "Sup, nigga?" And it's absolutely fine. Because he's smart enough to understand context. If you're offended by swear words because you're afraid that someone's insulting you by using them, you're too dumb to realize the concept of what they're saying. You're too dumb to take what they're saying and say to yourself, is this person threatening me? I don't know, apparently, is what this guy says. I don't know. I don't understand what he's doing. I don't understand basic instinctual things like body language, tone of voice. And when I hear the word nigger, I'm just so furious that I completely ignore everything else that they've said. Or cunt. Or fuck. Or goddamn. Or crap. And the soccer mom Nazis who teach their kids not to say crap, I'm not even going to get into.
I wonder how much time you spend.
I don't really know if I've made a good point here. And I'd like to point out one thing. Actually, I probably haven't been making a very intelligent argument because I didn't think about this beforehand. This is just me ranting. I hope I've made a few good points, but you'll notice that I've done this whole thing without cussing, except to say, these are cuss words. Here's the word I'm going to currently discuss. So if it's okay to say the word fuck when we're talking about the word fuck, that means it's just a word, people. It's just a minuscule word. But once again, I'm going to go off and make a presumption and assume that the guy who left that comment would have a problem with me using even these words. He would want me, even in a room full of adults, where we're discussing intellectually the science of speech, he would want me to say the F word, the C word, the N word.
But there's so many C words.
There are a lot of C words. That's why that doesn't work. But that's getting a little too simple on the argument. When you're so afraid of something that you have to cover it up, that you have to sugarcoat it before you can even be in the same room with it, it says a lot about your personality. And if you're the type of person that is offended by simply hearing someone say an offensive word, I think you should really just calm down. Stop just hearing the words and try to figure out the meaning. And that's a concept that can be taken to a lot of other areas of your life. The Bible, for instance. Stop paying attention to the words. Just figure out what they're trying to say. First Amendment rights. Stop paying attention to the words. Just figure out what they're trying to say. And cussing. Stop paying attention to the word fuck. And just figure out what's being said. Because a lot of times when people use these words, it's in casual language, because that's the way our language works. And the point of the sentence is not to simply say the word fuck. It's all the words that go around with it. And saying fuck is just the way that we talk. That's just the way that we move through our language now. We've come a long way as a society that we've broadened our horizons enough to be able to incorporate swearing into broadcast television. I think it's a good thing. It makes us less childish. It makes us more mature. And it makes us realize that these words aren't that bad. Because when you take a word and you say that you can't say it, you forever indoctrinize and lock in the power of that word. And the best example of this word is, again, nigger. The longer that people continue to be offended by it, and the longer that people continue to restrict its use, the more you prolong the power it has over our psyche. Because if you give somebody a way to offend somebody, or a way to shock their audience, they're going to use it. There hasn't been a good speech in the history of mankind that hasn't shocked its audience, either with beneficent awe, or blatant stupidity. If you're not shocking your audience in some way, you're doing something wrong as an orator. And not every concept is so grand, so effervescently enveloping that it can be made to sound wonderful. You can't sit around and talk about the shoes that you bought on Saturday and say that the experience was a euphoric opening of your spirit. You can't. People are going to look at you like an idiot. If you say, these shoes are friggin' awesome, I love these shoes, they're great, people get it. Because when you try to use fancy language, which we just don't anymore, that's the way our society works, it takes a formal sort of conduct to it. You're wrapping it up in something greater than it is. And again, this is sugarcoating, just the opposite end of the spectrum of cussing. When we speak, especially in America, we cuss a lot. A lot. And personally, it's a good thing, because it just lets us cut to the thick of a matter. It just lets us casually talk about concepts that are sometimes very complex. You know? It's not the words, for crying out fucking Jesus fucking sideways Christ. It's not. It's just fucking not. Fun. Just fuck. Cunt. Look, it's done nothing. There's nothing going on around me. There is no consequences for these actions. None. At all. They're just words, people.
Yeah, but you don't care about other people's, their rights not to hear that language. Give it.
There's another good point. You have no right not to hear that kind of language. You have no right whatsoever. Because you don't need a right. You don't need a law or moral code of conduct or even some ineffable pattern of society to protect you from coarse language. Because all you have to do is not listen. That's it. And it's kind of depressing that I've spent, 15 minutes now summing up what could have been said in 5. Just don't listen. How many times has that been said? I'm sure George Carlin said that. I'm sure Lenny Bruce probably said that. I'm sure Howard Stern and Mancow, everybody else has come under the glaring spotlight of coarse language. They could all tell you, if you don't like it, don't listen. Who's the dude in the wheelchair, the porn guy?
Larry Flint.
Yeah, Larry Flint. I'm pretty sure he actually did say that. If you don't like Hustler, don't read it. That's what it comes down to, people. You have no right to force your code of conduct on other people. And it really makes me sad that the people who are like this are the people who are most archetypically American. These are bacon-loving, burger-eating slobs.
Beer drinking.
Beer-swilling. These guys are American, and they think they're American, and they're patriotic, but they're fascists. They're fucking fascists. They really are. Because they're uncomfortable with something, so they don't just want to avoid it. They don't want to just legislate away their ability to hear it. They want to stop you from saying it. There are a lot of people in our country right now, probably judging by the polls or the voter turnout of the last 3 elections, right about 50% of people in this country who are fascists. Not Mussolini-style fascists. Mussolini's way above these guys. But American fascists. These are people who are just tightly wound. They got to stick up their ass.
They want you to have one too.
They want you to have one too. Because if you're happy doing what you do, if you're happy doing the things that they define as sin, they're not happy. And to anybody who's watching this video who agrees with me, they're not happy. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And don't ever, ever, ever stop. Don't ever let anybody shut you up. Anybody. Because it's all context.